The description and or pinned comments and or any other part of the video did not include clear, unambiguous citations or links to documents or proof for any of their claims. I have to go ahead and dig this up and quote-unquote do your own research. So I'm doing your research for you. Links below in the description. Claim: Hunter Biden's email was a bombshell that has emerged, showing Wikipedia citations deletions, and Joe Biden paying Hunter Biden's legal bills while the Biden campaign was in full swing or after he was president. Now I'm going to address that last part. That is associated with the pushback that you can confirm easily that Donald Trump, during the campaign and during his presidency, used his position in the campaign and having access to donation money and used his position as president to benefit his family members. This isn't literally some, propaganda or bullshit. There's actual evidence for it. The response to that is to take the same article saying presidential hopeful or candidate or President Trump, and then just changing it out for Biden, and then instead of one of Trump's kids, it's one of Biden's kids. And it doesn't help that Hunter Biden is a giant train wreck. But the point is, it's a reactionary behavior, it's propaganda, and you have to show equal proof. Yes, it is, yeah, but, or both sides. Okay, well, if you're going to make that kind of claim, really Trump looks worse. But let's go into this directly. Joe Biden taking care of his son at any time that he is not in power or is not in a position where this would be a problem legally is off limits. So what happens is I find people claiming Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are connected to each other in some way, in a way that's evil or illegal, but they never point to a year or a time, and when I find out what it is, it's a time or whatever where it cannot legally be a problem. It's just a private citizen, Joe Biden, former vice president, benefiting his family members. Or the other way around, maybe. Now, you could look into that independently, but claiming it's based on him running for president or running for any office or holding office doesn't work if he wasn't running for an office or had one at the time. Next, I want to bring up the presumption again that people have access to Hunter Biden's emails. Again, the source for this is the Trump campaign and Giuliani and them receiving the information from a computer shop owner who has gone on record as saying he wasn't able to visually confirm it was Hunter Biden, and all of them going out of their way not to provide any of the data so we could confirm it for years at a time, to the point that when they did provide some of it, it was found not to be confirmable as having anything to do with Hunter Biden or anybody else, except for a few files, or some files. And everybody on one side of the political bent says that none of them were verified. That's not true. And the other side says all of them were verified, and that's not true either. And none of this ever verified the laptops or the drives themselves, because, again, none of that was ever submitted for evaluation and confirmed. And no, the FBI didn't confirm it either. Claiming otherwise is literally a lie. Repeating something that you were lied to about still means you're repeating a lie, so stop doing it. So those are the two bases for it. One of them is payback because Donald Trump has shown that he has benefited his family members, and it may or may not be legal. I consider it probably not acceptable, but again, Donald Trump is a New York City, a New Yorker, real estate mogul. They're not going to be completely clean. I don't think you can do business in New York without getting a little dirty. But screaming the same thing at Joe Biden is a little bit weird here. I mean, there's plenty of things to criticize over. This is weird. The next thing. I'm evaluating again Clayton and Natali Morris's claims. So here we go. At 2 minutes and 44 seconds, yes, I'm picking it apart. Deal with it. There was claims of a redacted financial information list. And it's listed as Biden Owasco Monthly Bills, Hunter's Bills 5 PDF. Now on screen they don't tell you that, and they don't provide any link to it, but I looked up the contents of what they had on the screen and found a 56 KB file. It's 56 and some change. And it was generated January 14th, 2019 at 11:20 a.m. and 40 seconds as 4 pages, letter size in landscape mode. And it was done through Mac OS X 10.11.6 using the PDF right-click context preview for PDF files and or a scanner using the Quartz PDF producer version 1.3. Now, if you don't know why that some of you might be remembering this as a flashback. That's the exact procedure that was used to scan Barack Obama's birth certificate that created anomalies. I did a video about this. This was like a bad flashback. Please stop using macOS for any goddamn thing involving anything you're going to post on the internet. So someone did literally the thing, that caused all the anomalies in that PDF file that people used to try to claim Barack Obama's birth certificate was a phony, a Photoshop. I mean, it's going to have the same anomalies in it because it's using the Quartz utility subsystem inside of macOS for PDF processing. Running it from a scanner yet? Probably. Now, the other thing at the 4-minute and 41-second mark, a 2019 January 17th, when is it? January of 2019 is really significant, apparently. Anyway, there's an email to two people, Linda Shapero, a bookkeeper, that's a little bit like an accountant, and an aide to one of the Biden family members. It doesn't specify which one, Richard Ruffner. And again, Clayton and Natali are not providing their citations here. This aide and this bookkeeper were sent an email from Katie Dodge, who is a Hunter Biden's assistant. She is assuming Joe Biden will cover the legal fees that Hunter Biden creates in January of 2019. Now look up when they announce their candidacy, and also look up the fact that Clayton, Natali, and other sources don't look through the other emails apparently they have access to that are totally authentic and totally not faked, showing whether or not Katie Dodge was told no or you're wrong. This seems not like her saying this is a fact, but that she's asking questions. I don't know. You can read it. Links below in the description. But it is not proof that Joe Biden paid anything. It's an assumption by somebody who was working for Hunter. Now at 7:42, the Wikipedia article for Rosemont Seneca Partners, was involved in a deletion debate and discussion. There's a history file for it, and it goes from the 31st of March to the 28th of April, 2022. And it shows why it's gone. And we're going to look at it because we're going to show whether it was redacted or not. So let's first get this one. Even Fox News says that the assistant to Hunter Biden believed or understood that Hunter's dad was going to pay the bills. That isn't an assertion that proves that it happened. It's an assumption. It may or may not be true. I would say it's probably not true, but again, this is back in 2019 and again, January. Suspicious, isn't it? Might want to check the timing as to whether or not that would have been important. Now let's look at this one. I'm sure it is, but again, it's an assertion by somebody that isn't corroborated. That's not proof. This is the Biden and Owasco Monthly Bills, Hunter's Bills, PDF number 5. And here's the file. And it says right there, when you right-click it, this file was generated and dumped on the internet January 14th, 2019, 11:20 a.m. using macOS X, the Quartz subsystem for PDF files, to grab it either from scanning it or generating it. And it says it was in letter and landscape mode. And it's 4 pages. And what I did is I looked for 2018 Ford Raptor truck payment. Again, Clayton and Natali did not provide a citation of any kind. Not worth a damn. So I had to look this up until I found any file. And again, this one shows some authenticity. I mean, I have something to track. And again, yes, it seems to almost insinuate that this should be trusted just as much as Barack Obama's birth certificate. Kind of a quandary for some of you, not for me. Now we have the Wayback Machine version of the Wikipedia articles for deletion, Rosemont Seneca Partners. Now, the activity here, people went to archive.org and archived this for posterity to prevent people from erasing it twice on the 23rd, twice on the 27th, and on the 24th 5 times. Now we're going to look at the archive.today versions here because they're pretty indicative of what happened. Here's what it looked like on, there we go. Here's the, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. We don't have to go back and look at the archives. We can just look at the still backed up copy on Wikipedia. It only went on from March 31st till April 28th, and that's me pushing the definitions for it. Let's look at the 2 largest copies, here and apparently here. This one here, shame on Wikipedia. Hiding the truth through your leftist censorship will only get one thing. Downfall along with the entire deep state, conspiracy theorist yelling. And he's yelling in the header part, which really pisses people off in Wikipedia. And this version. The result of the discussion was to delete the article because it wasn't worth a shit, according to Wikipedia's guidelines. Now, again, I'm going to have to say something. I object to this. They shouldn't have deleted it because it would just cause us kind of trouble. So let's look at backup copies of it. Now, there are revision numbers in here in history pages no one archived. Well, that doesn't sound suspicious at all. So anyway, let's look at the last few. April 26th, 25th, and 24th. Okay, let's do 24th, 25th, and 26th. And this is the article that was deleted. Let's see it in its glory. No citations. On the 24th, someone had an article with broken citation links. Someone sabotaged the page so you can't double check whether any of this is factual. Let's see here. Oh, look here. It just redirected to Hunter Biden. Garbage. And then it redirected to the CIA because someone decided to hack it and make it redirect to the CIA page. Okay, let's go back a little further now. Let's see if somebody did something not as a joke. Yes, that's somebody who's a conspiracy theorist doing it. Here's the page version that they had up when they were talking about erasing it. It had a bunch of citations and fact-checking. Meanwhile, the one you're complaining about being erased had no fact-checking at all, and that's it. Somebody broke the page and sabotaged it, and then later redirected it to random pages, and now it's just redirected to Hunter Biden's page. There's all the archives of it there, and of course on archive.org there are backup copies there too. So let's review the claims or assertions of Clayton, Natali, Morris on their show they call Redacted or something like that. Did any of this show that Hunter Biden was bought and paid for, whatever, 2019 January forward by the Biden campaign? No. This is basically an assumption by Katie Dodge. His assistant assumed or believed or was under the presumption or had an understanding that Joe Biden's campaign would take care of him. That isn't actually necessarily true. And again, this is not Linda Shapero, a bookkeeper, nor is it an aide like Richard Ruffner. And they may have responded, no, Katie, that's not going to happen. But that part won't be delivered to you unless you go look on a liberal source, I guess, right? Next, the PDF file was made January, coincidentally, 2019. And it's 4-page, letter-sized landscape, macOS Quartz generated, just like Barack Obama's birth certificate. And it doesn't have any authentication in it. Oh, I should point out something. When you look in here, let's look up something simple. Edit, find, BIDE, it fails. There's no copy of the word Biden in here. I mean, there isn't. How about Hunter? H-U-N? H-U? Okay. J-O-E. Joe's a generic name. No, Joe and Hunter Biden don't show up in the document. It doesn't say anything about them. So how's that got anything to do with it? And anybody could have built it on any Macintosh. What about the Rosemont Seneca Partners Wikipedia page being deleted? It was deleted because it was essentially garbage. Because people were going through and mashing it to pieces and wheel warring it. Because it had citations that disproved conspiracy theories and really that's all it was good for? So what's my tact on this? Clayton, Natali, the Morris channel redacted video did not provide citations to this, and when you look up the citation, coincidentally, you don't find proof, you find assertions, speculations, or assumptions. Next, again, this is in reaction to Donald Trump's family really having their fingers in the pie when they maybe shouldn't. I don't think they should, but maybe. And Donald Trump looking bad for it. And their need to fuck with that is to go back after Joe Biden. And I should point out that Donald Trump really did try to really hard get a bunch of dirt on Hunter Biden or Joe Biden and even tried to blackmail people. Certain people involved in a certain war recently, by the way. And he is beholding to the opponent of that group. So yeah, none of this looks good for Donald Trump and family. None of this seems to be able to prove anything bad about Hunter Biden, except that he's an idiot, like he always has been. And it doesn't seem to have anything to do with Joe. And again, it is kind of funny that this thing was done using the Quartz utility that caused all the trouble with that fucking birth certificate I had to debunk the bullshit about. I think that's funny.